A very happy good evening to all of you. I want you to know that today is a very special day because we're here to enlighten you. We're here to share with you some of the good things that are happening here in our great city, here in our great state of Oklahoma. I'd like to say a special congratulations to Dr. A.L. Dow, not only for being one of the best optometrists in the world, but for being the best optometrist in the state of Oklahoma, and especially Oklahoma City. Dr. A.L. Dow, located at 934 Northeast 8th Street. His phone number for appointments, 235-0536. I suggest that you call and make sure that you have an appointment. That way you know that you have an opportunity so that you can go in there and be fitted for eyeglasses, be fitted for contacts. But more important than that, you can make sure that your eyes are in perfect shape. Dr. Dow can do it. You know, Dr. Dow, we'll be talking a lot more about him as the course of the radio show goes on, but then remember that he is your best optometrist. Good things happen to good people, and all of you out there in radio land, this is your best day. This is your luckiest day because you have an opportunity to be with us here live and in living color. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to get a pencil, a piece of paper, and I want you to call that friend, to call that neighbor, and tell them to be a part of today's A Visit with Clara Luper radio show. Why? Because it's very, very, very exciting. We look to hear from Clara Luper, who was en route to Washington, D.C., where on Monday and Tuesday she will have an opportunity to be there as a spectator in the Supreme Court of the United States. You know, as a history teacher, Mom has always loved to go places where history has been made. In the Supreme Court, history has always been made, every moment, and there's a historical making moment. As a history teacher, she could not pass up the opportunity to be there to hear the Dow case, the Dow reorganization case, they call it. But more importantly than that, she will be there lending her support and our mental vibes to those 9 Supreme Court justices, those 7 men in long black robes, that one black man in a long black robe, that one beautiful white lady in a long black robe, that will be deciding the future of desegregation, integration here in Oklahoma and across this nation. You know, I had a friend that called me from San Antonio, and he'd been looking at the CNN down in San Antonio, Texas. And he said, Calvin, what is going on up there? You mean to say y'all still messing around with that Dow thing? That thing is old as he is. He didn't say, but he said, y'all been trying to figure that out yet? Haven't y'all figured out that the best way to educate the kids is to share the money equally? Ooh, I had to tell him no, and I had to tell him you're right. And he had seen Leslie Brown and Clara Luper and Shelley and those other participants, Dr. Dow, those people whose names and whose energy and time has been spent in trying to help improve the educational system here in Oklahoma City. Good things happen. I want you to make sure that you've called that friend, you've called that neighbor, and invited them to be a part of today's show because of the fact today is Kermit James' birthday. He is 80 years old. It's hard to believe, but Kermit James is 80 years old. He's still as active as can be. I saw him Friday and last Sunday, but I saw him this past Friday. He had his painter's overall on, his painter's cap, driving his truck, leaning. I said, Brother James, what are you getting ready to do? Man, I'm going to work. So happy birthday to you, Kermit James. I would sing you a very special happy birthday song, but I know that your ears are not quite prepared for that, but I might do it anyway. Happy birthday, Mr. James. Say, you know, he used to be our Boy Scout leader. He is a trustee at the 5th Street Baptist Church, and he's always been concerned about the youth, not only his youth, but the youth of our community. I've seen him go out of his way to make sure that those of us who were active in the sit-ins, even while we were in the sit-ins, he made sure that there was some transportation for us. He made sure that there was food for those of us to eat who were active in there. And now, I mean, there were thousands of us that are across there, but Kermit James has always been that helping hand. But even more importantly than that is we've grown older. We've grown to admire him, and to respect him even further, because he definitely says what he believes and means what he says, and he stands by his words. So congratulations and a happy birthday to you, Brother Kermie James. Look forward to seeing you Sunday at that dynamic 5th Street Baptist Church. Say, all of you out there that are looking for a church home, we invite you to come by 5th Street Baptist Church. Sunday school starts at 9 o'clock, I believe. I missed that. But I know the church starts at 11 o'clock. I'll be there for that one. And from 11 o'clock to 12:30, 1 o'clock, guarantee you will have an inspirational time, and you will enjoy yourself. This part of our program is being brought to you not only by Allstate Insurance, your favorite agent Merlin Hildreth, but by the Smickler Chevrolet and Geo, Leroy C. Hicks, the best salesperson there. But we'll talk a lot more about Allstate. We'll talk a lot more about Smickler's Chevy and Geo. But most importantly, we want you to know that this part of the program is being brought to you by them. A very special thanks goes out to Reverend A.W. Walker. Reverend Walker is the pastor of the Heavenly Light Church of God in Christ in Luther, Oklahoma. Earlier today, on KTVL at 9 a.m., the Clara Luper radio show is also being aired. I invite you to be a part of that. But at 9 a.m. every Saturday at 12:20 a.m., the Clara Luper radio show can be heard. That's KTVL. But Reverend Walker called immediately after today's show, and he said that his church, the Heavenly Light Church of God in Christ, out there in Luther, Oklahoma, is going to make a contribution to the Freedom Center Monument. Now, Reverend Walker has always been a very dedicated person to the civil rights movement. He sacrificed a lot, has helped a lot, and he knows how important the monument is, not only to those of us who have participated in the movement, but to the future, to those young people who are starting in kindergarten, those young people that may have just been born just a few minutes ago. The thrill, the inspiration that they will get to come by the Freedom Center there at 2609 North Martin Luther King, Northeastern North Martin Luther King, but 2609 North Martin Luther King, and to be able to see and to visualize some of the pain, some of the strain, a lot of the strength, a lot of the energy that has come forth from the civil rights movement here in Oklahoma City. Thank you so much, Reverend A.W. Walker. Thank you so much, Heavenly Light Church of God in Christ, Luther, Oklahoma. Now, I'm not going to tell you how much you gave because I don't have time to read off all these zeros, but you better believe it's a substantial contribution, not only in money, but he says he's also going to make sure that the kids that he know become a part of the NACP Youth Council. It meets there at the Freedom Center still. They meet there every Monday from 7 p.m. till about 8 o'clock. Then they should be through. School is going on. We have to be careful when we drive through these school zones, but we have to be careful about what's going on inside of these school buildings. See, we'll talk a lot more about that, I promise you. But sit back, relax, call that neighbor, but most importantly, listen to this song. I'm certain that you're going to enjoy it because our special time is coming, and I'll tell you a lot more when we get back with you. All right. Good things do happen on the Clara Luper radio show, and good things happen because we know great people across this state, across this city, and across the United States. Not only are we looking forward to what's happening in Oklahoma City, but we're also concerned about what our brothers and sisters are doing over in Tulsa. I have on the line the Imam of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Brother Arthur Farrakhan. Brother Arthur Farrakhan, how are you doing?
Oh, real good, Brother Calvin. How about yourself?
Oh, fantastic. The best day of my life.
Great.
Right. What is going on in Tulsa that we need to know about over here in Oklahoma City?
Well, something is happening that I'm sure your listening audience would be happy to hear, and that is that Muslim leader, Imam W.D. Muhammad, who used to be known as Wallace, the son of the late Honorable Elijah Muhammad, has accepted our invitation to come to Tulsa October 13th and 14th. 13th will be on a Saturday. We're having a tribute to leadership banquet where we're recognizing people in the community that have done an outstanding job in helping our fellow human beings regardless of race, creed, or other background. on the 14th, Sunday, he will give a public address. Both of these things will take place at the Tulsa Marriott Hotel, located at the 41st and Garnett. And we're very excited about that.
Oh, that sounds exciting. You know, it's been amazing and it's been beautiful to watch the transition. I shouldn't say transition, but to watch how the Muslim community has become more and more involved in the total black community. What do you think has brought about the changes, and how are you doing over there in Tulsa? I know you used to be here in Oklahoma City, am I correct?
Right, that's correct. Right. We were in Oklahoma City from about 69 through 73. And have been very fortunate to have traveled throughout the country and the world because of this religion. What has happened, and one of the reasons that so many people are excited about the visit of Imam David Muhammad, is because he insisted when his father passed that we not just pick up the Quran in its label, but we pick up the Quran in its contents.
Yeah.
And once we have picked up the Quran in its contents, and been able to study it, not only in the English rendering, but able to read the Arabic language itself, it has made us very broad-minded. And subsequently, we were able to understand our religion a lot more clear and practice it a lot more clear. Where in the early years, we did participate in the political affairs of our country. That
was one aspect of the Muslim community that bothered me.
Yes.
The power of the vote here in America has been very important. But you're saying now the Muslims are interested in the voting?
Not just interested in voting, but strongly advocating voter education. In fact, some of our Muslim brothers and sisters have run for political office successfully. We have the vice mayor of Detroit as a judge and also a Muslim. And that same thing is happening throughout the country. One of the things the Quran has told us, in fact, our particular community here in Tulsa is known as Tulsa Dawah Muslim Community. Dawah is a comprehensive word, and it means to be involved in everything that affects the lives of human beings. Politics is one thing that affects the lives of human beings. So we have to be involved in those type of things, including politics.
Brother Farrakhan, you sound so good.
Oh, thank you.
You know, it's so great. You know, I remember you here when the Muslim community here in Oklahoma City is still strong and active.
Great.
And, you know, we all get a degree of inspiration from them, because there's a beautiful thing about seeing black brothers and black sisters working together and trying to make something out of what little that we have.
Right.
So I want to thank you so much for being a part of today's Clara Luper radio show here in Oklahoma City. And I want to invite everybody to come over there, and that's October the 13th and 14th.
That's right.
What time does that banquet start on October the 13th?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yes.
And the Honorable Wallace W.D. Muhammad will be the guest speaker?
That's right.
Okay.
And we want to thank you, Brother Calvin, and continued success to you and your show.
Well, we need it, because today you're fortunate in that you've had an opportunity to share your opinions and your views with the most intelligent listening audience in Oklahoma.
Well, we appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you,
Hey, tell Brother Jones that we're going to run that tape on Eddie Robinson, the coach Eddie Robinson that he made, and we look forward to it. And we're hooking something up that will really be great. And I invite you to be a part of our radio show. We're changing stations. We'll be at KTVL 1220 AM on 9 o'clock on Saturdays, and we invite all our listening audience, and especially you, to be a part of it, because good things happen to good people,
I hear that.
especially when they listen to the Clara Luper radio show.
Right on.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
That is part of the exciting things that happen here in our great state of Oklahoma. You know, it's an honor that the Honorable W.D. Muhammad would take the time out of his busy schedule to come close to Oklahoma City. You know, we like to think of Oklahoma City as being the central place, the place where everything has to happen. But then there are brothers and sisters in Tulsa, in Lawton, in Clinton, and even smaller towns, Idabel and Sweet Home, Oklahoma, Luther, that are doing things to help make their community and their homes, their state, a much better place. We can do it here. I mentioned to you earlier the fact that the Supreme Court of this United States will be hearing a very dynamic case. A case that's been on the books for years. Thanks to Dr. Dowell and Little Robert, I like to call him. But Robert Dowell wanted to attend school at Northeast High School 30 years ago, at least 30, probably about 32 years ago. Young Robert, the reason he wanted to go there was because of the chemistry classes, the science classes. The science program at Northeast High School was dynamic. It still is dynamic. But Robert Dowell couldn't go there because he was black, because he did not stay in the right area. Thanks to Dr. Dowell and to Robert's tenacity, thanks to the NACP and the legal aid division of the NACP, we've been able to bring that case, we thought, to a possible close, whereas students from across this city were bused and given the opportunity to share experiences with each other, to learn from each other, and more importantly than that, to be better prepared to live in our changing society, in our society where no matter what color you are, whether you be black, white, or green, no matter what color your neighbor is, we have one thing in common. We're concerned about what happens. But Robert Dowell and Dr. Dowell stuck with it. You know, we've seen the changes. We've seen the buses grow from 1 or 2 buses going up and down the streets to where there are a fleet of buses. And what those buses have done has given our black youth, our white youth, an opportunity to share that learning experience, to share that challenge of living where not just what you know, not just your straight-in community, just not the people right there in your church, just not the people right there on your block, right there in your neighborhood, but to meet people from all across our great city. To go in there and take a test, and you know that if you were at a such and such a school, you might be in the top 1%. But then to go there in that big melting pot, which America's all about, but to be in that melting pot and still come out in that 1%, it gave us confidence. It gave us an opportunity to see how truly great all of God's people are. But we had to deal with that, and we dealt with it well. But the Oklahoma City School Board has not been satisfied. Judge Bohannon has tried his best to make sure that, equal education was given to all of the people across this state, people across this city. He's tried. The parents have tried. Those of us who've seen the kids, or those of us who've been students who've been bused, we understand the importance and how much we really learn from the bus. But now we're back in court again. The school board had appointed a committee to look into our so-called at-risk schools. And it was very obvious they didn't need a committee because you as a citizen can see it. I invite you to go by Dunbar School, look at the playground, and look at the building. I invite you to go on the northwest side to any school of your choice. Look at the playground, look at the building. You also should go in and look at the library, see the difference in the libraries. You should also go in the classroom, see the difference in the classroom equipment that is available. If you really have a lot of time, just sit there in the classroom or sit there in the area. Make sure you check with the principal first, but go through there and see the emphasis and the attitudes of the different teachers and the concern that they have for their students. Let's say from Edward School to Dunbar School, Longfellow School, but go to another school on the northwest side of town or south side of town and see the difference in the concern that really shows there in the classroom where it's important. That is one of the reasons why we're now on Monday, our United States Supreme Court will again have to decide how to deal with the Dow reorganization plan here in Oklahoma City. This case will affect the whole nation because of the fact that it's not the bus, but it's the right to have a fair and equal education. It's the right to have fair and equal equipment to study with. It's the right to have fair and equal books to learn from. It's the right to have fair and equal playground equipment. But it's also the right to give the teachers that added degree of enthusiasm, that added degree of desire, that they truly need. But you'll hear a lot more about it. It'll be all on, especially KTLK on Sunday at 5:10. I invite you to listen because there's extensive interviews with many of the participants in the Dow reorganization plan. This interview will be held. Clara Luper will be on. Shelley will be on. Dr. Dow, probably Robert, Judge Bohannon, just about everybody they could get. But Monday, those 9 people in the Supreme Court will listen to the arguments presented by the NAACP and the Oklahoma City School Board attorneys. You know, that $20,000 that the Oklahoma City School Board is spending to appeal the case on just in this particular instance, I think that if we spread all that out, there could have been improvements made. I'd like to invite all of you to today that you know that there is a benefit going on to try to air condition the schools. It's located at 125th and May Avenue, and they've invited the cheerleaders. Shelley, that's why Shelley's not here. But all the cheerleaders and all of the participants in different activities in the school systems throughout this city have been invited to come out there to try to raise money to air condition our schools. But then on Monday, our Oklahoma City Public Schools will be spending that $20,000 there to defend something that really there's no defense, because we're concerned about the education of today's youth, tomorrow's adults. Congratulations go out to Hannah Atkins, because Mrs. Atkins got some of her flowers. There are many more flowers that I'm certain will be delivered to her. But congratulations, Hannah Atkins, because on October 5th, the citizens of Oklahoma gave you an honor that for your many years of outstanding leadership and your dedicated service to the people of our great state. They will be giving you an honor on October the 5th. Now, the local membership of the National Forum for Black Public Administrators will host this event at the Oklahoma City Kirkpatrick Center on Friday, October the 5th at 7 o'clock p.m. Congratulations, Secretary of State, Oklahoma's Secretary of State, Hannah Atkins, the wife of Dr. Charles Atkins. They've given so much to this community, and I'm so glad to see her get those flowers, like Mom says, while you're alive. So special congratulations goes out to Hannah Atkins. At the Appliance Care Center, located at 1320 Northeast 23rd Street, they have washing machines, dryers, rebuilt air conditioners, refrigerators, and ranges. Say, if you need a washing machine, if you need a range, if gas or electric, if you need a dryer, if you need a rebuilt air conditioner, go by the Appliance Care Center, 1320 Northeast 23rd Street. I told you to keep that pencil and that piece of paper handy, because you know now that on October 5th, there's a special tribute that you can go to for Hannah Atkins. You know that the Appliance Care Center can take care of those washing machines, dryers, rebuilt air conditioning, refrigerators, and ranges that you may need. Well, you better be writing all this down, because the Clara Luper Radio Show, well, we have the best advertisers, and we'll be sharing with you some good news, some great views. Today, I must remind you, as I understand it, this will be our last broadcast here on this radio station. As I sit here at this mic and I look around this room, I think of the many times that we've been out here, that I've been out here, and it seems like I've been a part of KBYE for the last 36 years, and it's like saying goodbye to a good buddy. You know, it's worse than a funeral because of the fact that everything is still alive out here. But this is our last show, and we invite you to be a part of the Clara Luper Radio Show, though, on 12:20 a.m. at 9 a.m. every Saturday morning. So if today I break down and start crying, just whip out one of your towels and dry your eyes, because of the fact that, you know, I'll be missing coming here. I'll be missing the room. I'll be missing the mic. I'll be missing worrying about what's going to be happening with the antenna. You know, we've had a lot of problems here, but then we've also had a lot of great times. Thank you so much, Bobby Battle. Thank you so much. So many of you that have appeared and taken the time out to come out here and been a part of the Clara Luper Radio Show. I know it's been tough on Saturdays, but it's also been fun. Special thanks, and I really miss this person. That's my favorite co-host. Every time Mom would go out of town, I knew that I could count on Mrs. Hunter to be there, to be here, to call me and remind me to make sure, Calvin, now if you're late, I'm going to jump on you and beat your little so and so, you know. But Mrs. Hunter is not here. Regretfully, she's been sick. And Mrs. Hunter, I want you to know, wherever you are, I know that your sickness does not keep you at home. We've already tried to call you. But I know that you're doing well, and I also know that you're listening to. A very special congratulations to the members of the Quail United Methodist Church celebrating 100 years in service to God and man from 1890 to 1990. Congratulations, Quail United Methodist Church. Sunday, September the 30th at 11 o'clock, Dr. Norris will be the guest minister. Say, we invite you to be there. I used to go to Bible school there. It was the best Bible school in the world. I think it was they had some beautiful Kool-Aid, as I can remember. We used to stay there on 3rd Street, right behind Quail United Methodist Church, not too far from 5th Street Baptist Church. But Quail's was close. Mrs. Carmichael and the Carmichael family, John and Arnetta, all of us used to go over there to that Bible school, inspirational Bible school, help put some building blocks in all of our lives. But Sunday, September the 30th, celebrating 100 years. Congratulations once again to the members, to the family, to the friends of the Quail United Methodist Church. You know, for all of your auto needs, and you know your car sometime, you may be getting ready to go somewhere and your car doesn't want to go. But for all your auto needs, you need to go by the A&A Automotive. It's located in 1900 block on Northeast 23rd Street, there on the south side of the street. Now, A&A Automotive, not only will they take care of your mechanical needs, but say you've had one of those dents or somebody bumped into your car and left and didn't leave a name, but you want to smooth your car out, you want a beautiful paint job, or you want to put it back like it was, go by A&A Automotive. Tell them that you heard about it on the Clara Luper radio show. A&A Automotive, 1900 block on Northeast 23rd Street, right across the street from that place where you can get the bucket. Red and white bucket. I'm not going to call her name because they don't advertise with us. Because if I call any place where you can go eat's name, it'll be Stale's Restaurant, where she has the best breakfast, the most outstanding lunch, and a fantastic dinner. That's Stale's Restaurant. It's located about the 1200 block Northeast 23rd Street. The best pies. Oh, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Still, we shall be there soon as this program is over. I promise you that. Look forward to meeting you there. Hopefully we won't have a dent and have to stop by A&A Automotive, but then they do great work, and they take care of your business. They make sure that your car is running smooth, make sure that it looks as good as, probably better than it ever did before. Well, we go so many different places from here. We were kind of halfway expecting a call from Washington, D.C., from Mom telling us how exciting the flight was and how excited she is to be there and to be able to see history being made. Regretfully, it has to be made at our expense here in Oklahoma City, but then we will see history being made. I think all of us who are rational persons can almost figure out what the United States Supreme Court is going to decide, and that is that the school board has not done its best to make all the schools equal. That's a simple fact. You get that for free. They're paying $20,000 to get it in writing. But then we're looking forward to some great football games. I know there's some of you that are listening to the radio show with one ear and looking at the TV with the other, trying to listen to OU game with the other. But then, you know, last night and night before last, there was some great high school basketball. Great high school basketball practices. But then there was some great high school football. And I mean, it was great. There was the Millwood School doing their best to come out a winner. There was the Northeast Vikings trying to break out of that no-win column. There was Northwest Classen trying to break out of the no-win column. There was a dynamic team from Star Spencer Bobcats, the Star Spencer Bobcats doing their thing, the Capitol Hill Redskins, and the almighty Douglas Trojans. All of them, all you young men out there who are participating in organized sports, who have struggled all during the summer, who have fought the heat, now getting ready for the chill to come in. Good luck. Best of luck. And to all of you members of the band who've been there blowing your horn or beating your drum or doing whatever you do, thanks to you for cheering on your team. Whether they win or lose, we know that we have some great young people growing up here in Oklahoma City, and we have some talented musicians. But then a special thanks to the members of the pep squads and the members of the cheerleading squads, because you too have worked hard. Your parents, along with the parents of the band and the football players, and the wives and the husbands of the coaches, all of you need a very special thanks. And as they say in certain places, you get 2 gold stars for so far. But if Northwest Classen should win a game, and if Northeast should win a game this coming week, you'll get 3 gold stars. So whatever you do, cheer for your team. And better still, we can set a good example. Like on Friday nights, on Thursday nights, we can take a little time out of our busy schedules and go by one of these high school football games and go there in the stadium and cheer for our team. Let the kids see you participating. Say, I bet we can change a lot of things. One time here on the KBYE earlier, we mentioned that we needed to start some adult gangs to counteract the gang influence here in Oklahoma. Say if some of our gangs would start hanging out at these football games on Friday nights or Thursday nights, it wouldn't be no problems, because adult game is a different game than a youth game. But more importantly than that, they're our kids. It's our future we're dealing with. So take a little time out of your busy schedule Saturday and go to the football game of your choice. But it's up to you. If you don't go now, then football game might come to you one day. You be sitting there in your house. Look outside, and there come 11 strong young men that just dropped out of high school, don't have nothing else to do, and decide to make you an example so you can go see them play football or wait for them to come to your house. But on the line here, we have a very special person. And how are you doing today?
I'm fine, and you, Calvin?
Oh, this is the #1 all-state agent in the state. How are you doing, Merlin Hildreth?
I'm doing just fine. As I was sitting here listening to the radio show, I felt that I had a responsibility to the radio listening audience, the most intelligent listening audience in the world.
Now, you're right about that.
Call and say thanks. Thanks for the support that they've given us throughout the years. Thanks for their business. And thanks for being who they are. I have listened patiently, and I've heard you talk about the Supreme Court decision. And as I think about the history of the civil rights movement here in Oklahoma, Oklahoma City has been responsible for the major changes that has taken place all across this country. And the separate but equal doctrine did not work then and cannot work now. It's no such thing as separate but equal. And I just hope that as those judges look at the situation here in Oklahoma that will affect the whole United States, that they see the problem. And the problem is not the bus. The problem is just us. We just need and we must demand the best of what America has to offer. As I look at Iran, and my heart goes out to our citizens that are over there now, protecting our country, that as we protect our country owes us a responsibility to protect our young people that have the future of this country at stake. But my heart cries, too, because this being the last broadcast from KBYE, this is worse than losing a child, I guess.
Well, what about a divorce?
A divorce, a child,
right.
A family. Because as I think about Abram Ross, as I think about Ben Tipton, as I think about the Soul Board, as I think about Cecil Williams, as I think about Clara Luper, my heart goes out because it's just another change, I guess, but change does happen, and it must happen. I just wanted to say thanks, Calvin, to the people that made us what we are, because ingratitude is a sin, and I don't ever want to be accused of being ungrateful, and I just wanted to say thanks.
Well, thank you, Merlin. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to call us and for being a part of this, our last broadcast here on our favorite station, the great station. We've had some good times, like I said earlier, and some bad times, but more good than bad, and some great memories, some hallowed memories right here in this room where I'm at now. But thank you for calling, and why don't you invite everybody out to your office if they have any insurance needs. How did you like that commercial on you? Wasn't that good?
Oh, yes. All except the Frisbee.
The Frisbee? You don't insure Frisbee?
No.
Well, I was thinking of that Allstate Frisbee that my good friend Marceau has that he just loves, so that's good.
I would like to take this opportunity, thank you, Calvin, to tell you that I want your business. I want to be your insurance agent. I want to be number one. And the only way that I can do these things is with your support. And over the years, you've supported me. But send me your business. Bring me your business. And I can promise you one thing, that I'll be the best of what I can be. I'm not perfect,
well,
but
Merlin,
I'll be the best that I can be.
you are a product of the Oklahoma City segregated school system, and you did learn to read, you did learn to write. But I know one thing that you learned, and that was to be honest and to be fair. So thank you so much for calling, and I guess we should say best of luck to Oklahoma City school system, right?
Best of luck to all of us. So
Best
go our youth, so goes our country.
Okay. Thank you so much. Merlin Hildreth, live and in living color.
Okay, thank you, Calvin.
All right.
Well, there you had it. We think about all these people that have been here in front of this microphone, and it's really tough. But I can read the ads here thanks to Dr. Dow. I have confidence thanks to Ben Tipton and Cecil Williams and the many others that have been here, and Walter Williams and Soul Man. I can't think of my partner's name out in Carverdale that spent a lot of time out here helping make all of this possible. But then everything must change. But I want you to listen to this short ad, and it's a great ad. And that pencil and piece of paper I told you to keep out, jot down the name and the phone number, because I'm certain you will be in contact with Brother Rouse.
This is Jack Ogle. I've spent almost 40 years of my life in the news broadcasting business in Oklahoma County, and I've learned a lot about government. Recently, I learned something that bothers me a lot. In the 10 years that Bob Macy's been district attorney in Oklahoma County, our crime rate per 1,000 people has gone up 16%. Now, you can say our population's gone up too, and it has, but only a little over 8%. To compare that, in Tulsa, with a population increase of 11%, 3% more than ours, the rate of crime per 1,000 people has increased less than 1%. 16% here, less than 1% in Tulsa. Now that tells me something's wrong. Much of the problem is that the same people go through the court system time after time. Instead of offering education and rehabilitation for early drug users, for example, Mr. Macy only talks about rehab at election time. The district attorney can do something about the crime problem, and that's why Charles Rouse says 10 years of Bob Macy is enough. I urge you to vote for Charles Rouse for district attorney on November 6th.
Paid for by Committee to Elect Charles Rouse. Jack Ogle, Director.
Charles Rouse wants to be your district attorney. Say,
Leader of the NACP Youth Council Advisory Board, the originator of Freedom Center, the young dynamic lady that's now in Washington, D.C., taking care of business. Welcome to your mic, Mom, here on a visit with Clara Luper.
Thank you, Calvin. This is Clara Luper that's now standing across the street from the Ford Theater. It was on April the 14th, 1865, which was a day of celebration and Thanksgiving here in Washington, that Abraham Lincoln was shot. I have gone, like hundreds of others today, through that theater. I looked at the box number 7, which was decorated with flags, and where the party entered on the left side of the stage. All was closed. I have looked at pictures of Lincoln in different ways, and as I left the crowd just a few minutes ago, they told me to rush back because we are all going across the street where Lincoln was taken after he was shot. I noticed one thing that I had not read before, that Booth, before he died, cried out that for what I have done, this nation should honor me. The spirit of Lincoln is certainly here, and I am here looking forward to going to the Supreme Court on Tuesday. I am now 1 mile in the Hotel Sheraton from the Supreme Court of the United States. Tomorrow I shall go to the Supreme Court and walk up those steps. But on Tuesday, the Oklahoma City reorganization case will be heard in that court. Attorney Louis Barber, who has conducted a seminar here in D.C., will be there, along with the attorneys from the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Never before has such a case brought such national interest. It is unbelievable, the news reporters and the people that will be here at the Supreme Court. The question is very simple. Will America go back to the days of segregation, where they will start first on the kindergarten level, move to the 4th grade, and then in the next few years we will be back to a segregated society? That would be answered by 9 judges, 7 white men in long black robes, 1 white woman from Arizona in a long black robe, and 1 black man in a black robe. I do not know. But I do know we are here saying to the world that we believe in an integrated society. We believe that all children, regardless of their race, creed, or color, should be exposed to the same opportunities. And people have been asking me here, what's happened to some of the black people in Oklahoma that are crying out for segregated schools, which are neighborhood schools? I cannot answer that. I can only answer for Lady Ruth Hunter, Clara Luper, and many others that we want to see the schools completely integrated. Calvin, it's a feeling here in Washington. It's a spirit. Maybe I felt that spirit as I landed at the National Airport. Maybe I feel it now as I stand here in the silence of history. And as I look across the street at the Ford Theater, knowing that Lincoln died because he wanted to save the Union. And I'm wondering if we understand the real saving of the Union. Today will be my last day on KBYE radio. I'm sorry that I'm not home to say personal goodbye to all of you. But I'm leaving KBYE. The manager told me that he would not allow black gospel music to be played on that station other than those on the programs that we pay for. With the half cost of radio, and with the commitment to liberty, justice, and equality, I can no longer pay for my own segregation. Yes, I realize that I have been on KBYE for 25 years, and the happiness that I have experienced cannot be written in terms of words or cannot be drawn in terms of pictures. It was a lovely fellowship. But as I go to KTLV every Saturday at 9 o'clock, and as I prepare for 5 special television shows that I will do on Channel 19, I ask the prayers of all of you. To you, David Lee, and to all at the Triangle Beauty Salon. To my friends down in Woodward, Oklahoma, Holinville, and Willika. And to my devoted followers, Gladys, Elliot, and others, I say thank you. Thank you for being I had a sad story. And Calvin, I don't know whether you have told a story of a black vendor who has been cut out from 3 schools that he has serviced. I don't know whether you have told the story of the suffering of the black people at the Veterans Hospital or in any other areas. But to my black friends and to my white friends, we cannot give up because we are trying. And my last words to you in Oklahoma would be wade in the water, children, because God is going to trouble the water. And Calvin, thanks for doing my final show on KBYE Radio. And to all of you, goodbye, and I love you so much.
Thank you so much, Mom, for calling. Bye-bye. She's absolutely right. There were some things that I left out. I left out on purpose because I chose to think that the educational problems that we're facing here in our state are great and that they needed to be brought to your attention, give you something to think about. I know you've made notes today, but I want you to remember this, that at the Freedom Center, we're building a Black History Monument. We appreciate your help and your contributions. Thank you, Reverend Walker. We want you to know that at 5:10 p.m. on KTLK on this Sunday, you can hear Clara Luper talking more about the educational system. At 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday on the Dan Rather Show, CBS, you can hear and see Clara Luper talking about our educational problems we face here. This is a decisive week. We don't have anything else that we can do about it except live our lives the best that we can. We must share with those who have not, but we must share with those that have a deeper feeling with all our love and with all our intensity. For 25 years we've been here, as Mom said. It's been special. I want to say a special thanks to all of you. And I appreciate every second. And I look forward to you being with us on KTLV, 9 a.m. Saturdays. Thank you, and we love you.
Let's celebrate at the end of the day.